News just now, the Cleveland Browns have signed Myles Garret to a record deal, 4 years with $125.3 million, fully guaranteed, averaging to $40 million per year. So you presume at the very least for the total deal, it's going to be $160 million per Adam Schefter. This now becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. When we just saw a couple of days ago, Max Crosby get a 3-year, $106.5 million deal, $35.5 million per year on average, and $91.5 million guaranteed. So comparing this to Max Crosby, Myles Garret is making $4.5 million on average per year and $31 million more in fully guaranteed money. This is a shocking. I mean, especially for just the money they threw at Myles Garret, it's insane. But we should have also expected this because of Max Crosby being the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history at that time, only a couple days ago. And this was probably, some of the team should have expected for. If the Eagles were a strong candidate to get Myles Garret, that was certainly a case. Or who else you want to throw at Buffalo, whatever team was rumored to try and go after Myles Garret. This was expected that you were gonna have to give up a ton of assets, at least for multiple first round picks, maybe another mid round pick as well, or a good player with those first round picks on top of paying him at the very least $35.5 million at worst, which Myles Garret was not going to accept. He wanted to be the highest paid non-player in NFL, not highest paid non-player, but definitely the highest paid at the position, certainly more than Max Crosby. And I'm very shocked that, at least for the guaranteed money aspect of it, I'm not surprised that he's getting paid more per average, $4.5 million more, but it's just the guaranteed money. $31 million more is a huge jump from what Max Crosby was getting, and one more year on his deal. Of course, like I said, Max Crosby had a 3-year deal. So before I get into my concerns, no doubt about that, Myles Garret is the best pass rusher in the NFL, former Defensive Player of the Year, multiple time first team All-Pro, one of the best defensive players we've seen in recent times. I do worry for the Cleveland Browns moving forward in terms of cap space, similar to what I worry about with the Las Vegas Raiders and what people said. It's great that you signed them. It's great you have them locked down long term, but you're stuck with them. And that's not a horrible thing, of course. I mean, these are still highly productive players, but especially for the Cleveland Browns and still trying to deal and maneuver around Deshaun Watson's contract, which is going to be coming up pretty soon at the end in a couple of seasons, but still a ton of money left. I do worry about how they're going to balance it out, because at least when you look at the free agents in 2025, nothing too crazy, maybe outside of Jedrick Willis, but the rest, Jameis Winston, he's going to be walking. He'll go somewhere else. Nick Harris, you do worry about as well, and still being at 26.2, and as well as Willis 25.8. So we'll see what happens with that. We look at for Willis for his market value real quick, 2.2, which would be, again, relatively be able to keep him, but maybe we'll get more in the open market, as well as Nick Harris doesn't even have a market value. But you look at down the stretch, it's outside of that, Elijah Harris, which didn't really do too much for Cleveland. You let him walk. Nick Chubb, who was certainly a big part of this offense, but unfortunately injuries have ruined his career, derailed it the last couple seasons. And you get on the list, nothing too crazy, at least that's jumping out. I mean, I might be missing a name offhand. The other one I would say in 2026, you do have to worry about the top three at least. Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Taylor, and Dave Njoku. These are high-profile players on your team. I mean, you're certainly going to lose one or two of these guys. I mean, Njoku has been a solid tight end, no doubt about that, and has made plays at times. That's going to be a big loss if you do lose him. You look at Wyatt Taylor, who was a fantastic trade years ago from Buffalo, has been one of the best guards in the NFL. That's going to be a tough loss for them, no doubt. And you look at Bitonio, that's another going to be a huge loss. That's even more than 2025, which, again, nothing too crazy. The previous year, and again, for Willis and for Nick Harris, nothing too crazy about that. But 2026 is definitely worrisome about these top three players. And if you want to throw in Juwan Thorhorn, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this guy's name. I mean, definitely, a solid player. And you go down the list, Greg Newsome is another one that stands out as well. And you look at the rest for 2026, it's a lot of names on there. A lot of names. If you're interested in 2027, even going that much further, you can cross off, or they already did cross off Myles Garrett's name on here. Deshaun Watson, they'll be happy. They'll be throwing a parade that he leaves, and you look at the rest for 2027. But still, I just worry about long term how this is going to affect them, because when you look at the cap space in 2025 right now, they are 26th in the NFL with 4.3 million this offseason. You look at 2026 next year, they are dead last at 44.49. And then if you want to look even further to 2027, they are second last in the NFL. And if you want to even go further to 2028, they are 27th. So overall, the next few seasons, they are going to be a bottom tier team in terms of cap space. And certainly, there's tons of time to change around with cuts, trades, restructures, extensions, and so forth. So these numbers are subjective and can certainly change in an instant. But it just gives you a glimpse of where the Browns are going to be moving forward. They're going to be a team that doesn't have a ton of cap space. They're going to be in the, again, bottom tier of the NFL when it comes to that. That is something I just worry about. Is like eventually you will get past the Deshaun Watson contract, but I worry about too on top of that. Again, if you still have it on the books at that point, and then you have Myles Garrett making his money, which that won't kick in because he has 2 more years left on his deal. So I even worry about even then once it finally kicks in, what's that going to look like? That is my concern, as well. Once it kicks in, what's going to be the state of the Cleveland Browns at that point? Are they going to, when certain players are up or whatever the situation may be, and they need the money? I just worry about that as a huge chunk of money on your books. No doubt about that. That's something I do worry about for the Browns because of just, again, not saying, not trying to compare to Deshaun Watson, because Myles Garrett is a far better caliber player and he will be much more productive than what Deshaun Watson did. But it just worries me that they are still in the midst of the Deshaun Watson deal, and then obviously once that's done, then Myles Garrett's contract kicks in, and then you have to deal with that per year. So that's my only concern about that, is just that type of money. But outside of that, again, I mean, he's one of the best pass rushers. He still has a few more years left of elite time play, all pro type of player left in him. But I mean, again, just very shocking why I keep saying over again for the guaranteed money. A huge jump, $31 million more than Max Crosby. That to me it's insane. And for this one, it's for Trey Hendrickson, I just don't know what he's going to get at the open market. I don't expect $40+ million in surpassing Myles Garrett. It'll probably be closer to Max Crosby. So that's something to look for and to take an account for when a team does trade for him, if they do decide to trade him. So that's going to be another interesting aspect to look at these two contracts and try and figure out what is a good deal for Hendrickson. What is he more closer to? And I do expect him to be closer to Max Crosby than Myles Garrett. But at this point, you never know. I mean, certainly for the guaranteed money, I don't see him getting that much money. Let's throw out the window. He's not going to get more than $123.5 million when he goes to a different team, or if he does, whoever signs him. But yeah, for Cleveland Browns fans, congratulations. If you were worried about losing Myles Garrett, you have him long term. You basically have him for essentially the rest of his career. At that point, you don't have to see him in another uniform. He'll be a Brown for the rest of his time there. So happy for them. Hope Browns fans aren't too upset with the deal. I don't know if it's what the early reactions are. If they think it's an overpay, if it's great, if it's not. Very curious to see, looking around social media and all that, what the reception is from Browns fans, what they think. But you keep your best not only pass rusher but your best player in your franchise. So we'll see what happens in 2025 and what he does moving forward.